Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, we bring you on an expedition through the depths of the movie industry to discuss the amazing, terrible, and amazingly terrible movies based on video games. Our hosts' entire lives are dedicated to a single goal. Probably answering the age-old question, do games make good movies?
Hello and welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. We are here talking do games make good movies, the age-old question. I am Kaori Takee, and you can follow me anytime at Kaori. And you can also send us your questions, your comments, and what you got to say at hashtag VGFilms all the time. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe right here on this channel. And with me, I've got Patrick Dees.
Hello, it's good to be back. I missed the last one, which was a total bummer.
We totally missed you.
It was a bummer, but I'm here. I'm talking Mario. You can find me at P to the D's on Twitter.
And next to you, Mark.
I am the Internet Soapbox Mark. Last week was Street Fighter. This week, another franchise that is near and dear to all of our hearts. And just commiserate with me at Soapbox Mark.
Oh.
Yes, and if you guys haven't guessed based on the music, we are talking about
Legend of
1990.
I'm on the wrong show, guys. It's been fun.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Where's that movie at? 1993's Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
So, before we get into the nitty-gritty and start divulging all this, what were your overall thoughts of this movie? I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
What were your thoughts? But
shut up!
Because I've
Hear
been waiting
me.
to say...
I love this.
I thought I liked this movie.
Did you?
I thought I did, but when I saw it again, I realized how terrible it was. I fell asleep. I had to watch it again to my dismay.
No!
Because, of course, we're here talking about it. It was terrible. It just had all the wrong elements, and I love Mario Brothers and Nintendo, but, you know, it just failed.
I don't think it's unique to this movie, though. I feel like a lot of times, don't get me wrong, I know we're talking, do video games make good movies, but I think a lot of times when we, like, things in the past sometimes just stay there, right? Like, nostalgia should just be what it is. You just enjoy that, and you come back and you deconstruct it as an adult. And well, don't get me wrong, this movie didn't hold up well, right? They blamed their, like, overall failure on the fact that Jurassic Park came the week after, which I don't think that was the reason this movie might have been a miss.
It still could have had a strong opening weekend, which it didn't. I wanted to give this movie the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. So if we take out, if we imagine that they're making this movie for a general audience, and Shigeru Miyamoto is known for saying that he was afraid that they put too much of the game into the movie. So if they did peel back a little bit of the things that from the movie, the references from the game, then it could have passed as an okay movie.
I don't even think so.
The problem is we're seeing this from a prism of my entire life I have known the franchise of Super Mario Brothers. This is a terrible movie because of that. But if you look from the prism of the very few people back, or the very many people back when this movie came out who didn't know what Mario was, you probably could have gone into this going, oh, this is cool, this is weird, is this what Mario's about? But it doesn't pass anymore.
I think it's objectively terrible. I kind of disagree. I think, like, again, in and of itself, as a film, it's just objectively bad.
Yeah, right.
I mean, am I wrong?
I agree. It was bad.
It wasn't a function of its video game content. I mean, like, and that, like, only barely loosely tied. I know we'll do a deep dive into it, but it only kind of loosely thematically tied into it at all. Hell,
exactly.
Luigi's not wearing green like 98% of the
Yeah,
movie.
he's
Until
wearing
the
red.
elevator time.
I mean, okay, yes. So we will get into the elevator
Yeah, we're
scene
going.
for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get
but
there.
I think this is one of those. This is the
weave back
movie
and
that
forth.
definitively answers this question. Everybody loves to dance.
I mean, that scene itself where the Goomba... What the heck were those Goombas? They were just... Okay. I mean,
General thoughts.
General thoughts.
I think general thoughts. This definitively answers this question: do video game movies make good movies? And the answer is no. I mean, I found
there
this movie.
are exceptions.
I mean, okay.
And
I found this movie on YouTube. I texted you late saying, hey, where can I find this movie? I want to pay for it. And it's on YouTube completely. So if you're at home, go enjoy this. Watch it for free. It is on YouTube. And it says underneath it for educational purposes.
That's actually that's the way that they can keep it up. But if they really were focused on making money off of this movie, it would not exist on YouTube. It would have been pulled for so many different things. But the fact that nobody's really making money on this anymore, they're like, let's just do it. Just leave it there. Leave it there to rot.
Okay, well, real quick, we're going to talk about the players. We had Luigi, John Leguizamo, who's made a career out of himself. Mario, Bob Hoskins, rest in peace. And then Princess Daisy, Samantha Mathis.
That's
what I said. I don't know where she went. King Koopa, Dennis Hopper, as well as directed by Rocky Morton and andAnnabel Jankel. They got married in 1998, but they were a couple when they were doing this. And apparently, there was a lot of issues because one wanted it one way and the other one wanted the other way.
And neither of them got what they want, apparently.
When your producer kicks the directors off of the set for being too disruptive, you know that's not good. And on all of the actors, when asked about the process, talked about how inexperienced and unprofessional the directors were in trying to create this film, and that's not a good way to start.
Yeah, and I mean we'll get there, but the actors talk later. In 2007, they all kind of released how much they hated doing the project.
Why don't we open with that? Why not? Tell us a little bit. So you sent us some information about Bob Hoskins. Had talked a little bit about his experience on this film. I think people are aware of like his disparaging comments, but what exactly did he say? I have the quote here. It's from an interview with The Guardian. He says it was the worst thing I ever did, and that the whole experience was a nightmare. He said he answered Super Mario Brothers to these 3 questions. What's the worst job you've ever done? What's your biggest disappointment?
Yep.
And if you could edit your past, your whole past, what's the one thing you would change? Super Mario Brothers.
It was this one.
I'd say Rogaine.
Rogaine?
Yeah, that would probably do wonders for his career.
Okay.
that made me thinking retrospectively on his career. This is a man coming off of Hook.
Yep.
Which is a wonderful performance as Smee. This is a man coming off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Correct.
True.
And that's why they thought that this was going to sell, because he's got the name recognition from those 2 films. He's going to bring the money in because everybody's used to him as this family star.
Sure.
And he did what he could with a terrible script.
I actually read that Tom Hanks was billed to play Mario, but then they said, no, you know what? Bob Hoskins has the name at that time. I mean, things could have been way different.
I want the VH1 behind the music of this movie, right? Because like John Leguizamo says also in his tell-all book that apparently they would just get trashed on the reg during the shoot because they knew, look, we signed up for something terrible. They got in all of the when driving the van around New York City, they got into a minor crash, and there are some scenes where you can see Hoskins in a cast. From it because he was driving drunk. Perfect.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's very. You've got to like scrub through the film to find the couple of frames for like the pickups, but it's there.
Yeah. And none of these actors enjoyed their time there, including Dennis Hopper. And I'm going to quote him. He says, it was a nightmare. Very honestly, that movie, it was a husband and wife directing team who were both control freaks and wouldn't talk before they made decisions. Anyway, I was supposed to go down there for 5 weeks, and I was there for 17. It was so over budget.
Okay, but like to his credit, that guy does not phone it in for one scene of this movie. He takes everything like it is an Oscar caliber performance. He's talking to that pile of goo that is the princess's father.
King
Toadstool. He is not phoning that in. He's taking this incredibly seriously. I really appreciated his performance. Of all things, I think Koopa.
If you can't believe any of it if your villain isn't believable, and it was the same thing with Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Bison was the only character that made you go, wow, this is the only reason I'm watching this film.
Sure,
and Hopper too. Like, despite some of the really silly the idea behind the King Koopa character that they created for this film, it was still just like, thank you for trying. Thank you for trying. Thank you for playing. We'll see you next time. Game over. Try again.
Game over. No pun intended. It was just all kind of terrible.
So, but can we talk about the King Koopa character as a whole since we're there?
Sure, let's just
it's established that he is King Koopa. At the very beginning, though, he's General Koopa. He's like, do you remember at the very beginning when they drop off the daughter in an egg and then she hatches in a nunnery?
And he's got the tags on him.
Yes, so he's like a general. This is before he's ascended to the kingdom, if you will, and like definitely it's a monarchy, but why are there like campaign posters all over? It's like the very first thing at the very end when they win, it's like vote Koopa and they're painting over it. Yeah. He's a king. I don't understand.
Yeah, he ascended the throne. Yeah, you don't.
I need so much explanation for this movie.
This is a much better film. You don't vote for kings.
So I want to.
I could become king then.
I want all of the rest of this conversation for me is like you guys can talk and exchange like educated opinions. I'm just going to ask you 2 questions about the fever dream that just happened. I don't know.
It's a mess. Cheers. Before we just go into that whole entire mess, let's talk real quick about the plot and basically what it's about.
Great.
Is we got King Koopa in an alternate universe where he's trying to merge them into one and rule, and King Koopa is apparently he stems from a Tyrannosaurus Rex back in the day, and it's just weird.
When the meteor hit the Earth, there were 2 dimensions that were created. One in which humans evolved from apes, and one in which humans evolved from lizards and dinosaurs and such. And he wants to rule both of them, so because his world is the city and then desert. And so he wants to rule both dimensions.
And they need this apparent meteorite that Princess Daisy has. And by the way, I mean Daisy not understand being from both is just a mess. Everything's a mess. I just did not enjoy that part. But yeah, just.
I think your explanation was one of the best summaries.
That's really
the fever dream.
You seem so upset about this movie.
That's what it was.
Let's start off at the beginning, right when they're setting this up. There's the cartoon. Did you remember the animated stuff from the beginning? This is something I blacked out as a child.
That was weird.
What was that?
That was weird. Okay.
I prefer Dino DNA.
And then the meteor came and took them all out.
It was like there's no need for that.
It's just and what if this happened? And then what if? Yeah, lots of what ifs.
No, that's the first thing that makes you go, oh, I'm not going to enjoy this. It's not, and what if? It should be, this is what happened, and now you have to deal with it.
Totally.
I mean, there's a lot of things that just didn't work. For example, Luigi is not Mario's brother in this movie.
Nope.
He found him somewhere and decided to raise him.
Yep.
I'm like,
They're
okay.
twins.
That's like a huge...
Well, when we talk about
he's like a father and a brother and an uncle and a mother. Hey.
Oh, that.
No.
So yeah, so I guess I don't even know where we are right now. We're just going everywhere.
I mean, you can continue with the plot.
We're talking about the plot.
Yeah, we
talking about
Luigi. I think you set it up well. There are these 2 dimensions.
Okay, well, Luigi falls in love right away for Daisy, and then they go and kind of go try to save her because she gets captured by Iggy and what's his name again?
Spike.
Yep.
Thank you. One of my. The biggest opportunities that they had to make it, even though they were Koopa's cousins, they weren't Koopa's kids. The easiest thing they could have done. There are 5 other male names for the Koopa kids that they could have used instead of Spike. Morton, Ludwig, anything.
I love Ludwig.
But Spike. Easiest thing they could have done just to be like, yeah, here's a little thing for you. But they had to make it Spike instead of anything else.
Yep.
There's just an unfortunate non-reference.
Yeah, well, they got half right.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, they didn't even use Princess Peach, I was kind of hoping for, but I guess that would have completely changed the project because the love interest there would be different.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But Daisy isn't even from the Mushroom Kingdom. She's from Sarasa Land. We'll get when we talk about the difference between the game and the movie. I can go into it more.
You're doing all right. You're like this vertical slice of Wikipedia.
He's
I can listen to this all day.
ready.
I'm Mario, dude.
I got 2 problems with the beginning.
Let's talk about what did you guys think of the character casting choices?
I'll let you go first, Mark.
The casting of Bob Hoskins visually and performance-wise was fine.
All right.
But the dialogue, Mario's this happy-go-lucky dude in the games, and in the movie he's like, I'm gonna kill him, I'm just gonna mutilate, all this, this awful idea of what we know this character as. So there's another disconnect between the franchise. Well, I mean, back then he didn't really have too much of a character, but he didn't seem like a vicious killer that's gonna bop people over the head with wrenches and take them out. But the Hoskins was good. I liked the casting was fine.
Talking about Leguizamo, how do you feel about him as Luigi?
It should have been Since they didn't go off of Mario and Luigi being twins, that's fine. You go wherever you want with that. Leguizamo was rising at the time.
John Turturro, maybe?
I was okay with John Leguizamo, to be honest.
Grow a mustache!
Yeah,
that's
one defining trait.
Yes.
Grow a goddamn mustache.
Wow,
I'm sorry.
those were
Put a
heavy.
fake one
I am
on.
into, like I'm frustrated with this. So yeah, he was fine. I mean, Leguizamo was fine. The whole time I'm thinking it's just a missed opportunity. John Turturro, tall, lanky Mario, because Luigi is a little bit taller than him in this movie, but I feel like all they needed to get right was a body type.
See, I don't have a problem with the casting so much as the characters that they put in there, like the Goombas that look nothing like Goombas. They're just like
It fit
some liberties
it
there for
fit
sure.
into the world that they made.
it just.
There was before they decided on this this dystopian otherworld New York City. There was a rumor that they wanted to do more of an Alice in Wonderland Wizard of Oz, where it was a little bit more like the world that we know in the games.
Right.
So it was
Right.
a little bit lighter. The Goombas probably would have been actual, like, little mushroom Karibo dudes.
Because these guys were creepy.
Yeah, but these guys were soldiers that fit in with the narrative that they made. So that's in terms of how much they messed up, which they did very much. They still fit everything within their warped sense of
But
reality
everything was
that they made.
so weird. Like we got the Goombas dancing in the elevator, and then one
Because
of the
they're
Goombas
mindless.
having a crush on Princess Daisy.
Well, no, because that was Toad.
It was right.
Oh,
was-
that's right.
right.
That was Toad. Yeah.
Yeah, that was-
And Toad
Yup.
too. I didn't like that Toad looked like that. I mean, I guess everyone has to morph into this human being, but it just didn't fit. And Yoshi,
Yoshi was the closest thing.
I guess.
If you think about, but also,
Mm.
okay, when you think about the Goombas and the Koopa Troopas, they were mindless soldiers that moved wherever you put them. And in the game, they're mindless soldiers that move around wherever you put them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So they
buy
serve the
that.
purpose. That's the thing is, I'm looking at this on a way to drink to level, which is to have this all make sense. Is it mirrors the game a little bit too much to where it doesn't make sense in the narrative that they're trying to make.
Oh, that's interesting. So walk me through that, because I feel like this is like So the reason I say that, and I don't mean to give you a hard time, but like I feel like this is, hey, you know that game that you love, like the coins and the stars? Yeah, none of that. We're gonna give you this really disjointed dystopian,
That's how I felt.
alternate universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where they messed up. But if you think about it from a that's what I meant earlier when I was like, if you're not a Mario fan and you look at this, it can be a less than okay movie.
Okay.
But then when you look at it from the Mario prism, in terms of the world that they made, this stuff, because we know what it is, quote unquote, really, doesn't make sense. Like the fact that the Thwomps were the rocket boots, or that Big Bertha was a big lady as opposed to a giant fish.
Yeah.
And instead of spitting fire, it was the flamethrower.
I do like that they did incorporate all those different characters in it. I just
did.
wish they would have done it differently.
Okay.
I guess I would have imagined a more lighthearted movie, like
That's
you mentioned.
exactly,
That's kind
and
of what
that's
I
the
would have
problem.
wanted.
Is if they hadn't tried to make everything make sense or name everything similar to how it is in the game, it probably could have been a little. You probably could have accepted a little bit more, but at the same time, everybody would have been, well, where's the bomb? Well, where's this? Well, where's this from the game? And where's that?
The bomb
So-
was the best part.
Well, that's because it was the most realistic thing and the most similar thing. That was
So
the
cute.
most Mario thing in the movie was the bomb.
I will give you that. So the make sense thing, I think, is the problem where I'm having a hard time following you, because I'm with you on most of it, but like if this was this cohesive universe independent of the Mario piece, I would get it. I was lost several parts. I've already talked to you a little bit. I talked to you a little bit about the monarchy. I don't understand why they're voting. I don't understand how they dropped Princess Daisy off at like a church and she's an egg. I guarantee if nuns find an egg baby, they like drowned the egg baby. Like she's spawned like Beelzebub.
I mean, this isn't like Notre Dame.
I'm confused about that. I was also so things that don't make sense. Like, do you at the very beginning they get the phone call, right? Like they're like, hey, we need some work, and then like have to race other plumbers to a job. Is that how plumbers work?
No,
No.
that
I don't
was
understand.
that.
I was like,
That was probably the thing that I had the most, one of the most problems with, not relating to the actual
Sure.
franchising of everything, but because it was just like, what kind of a jerk calls multiple plumbers just to be like, who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it first? What a
We should just do that on
D-bag
off
move.
time.
No, that's even
Okay.
worse. And then like, oh, you made it here first. Here's
by
5.
the guys that finished second.
And
is my
especially
point.
Mario being a psychopathic killer, I'm
Yeah.
surprised anybody's made it out alive.
What'd you guys think of Daisy's dad being just this
the fungus.
It made
fungus?
sense. It made sense.
Yes, it makes sense, but like the way it looked physically.
Oh, it was gross, but if it was fake, it would have probably been even more, it would have been worse. The fact that it was real and everybody was treating it that it was gross was like, oh, all right. Yeah, it's gross.
And did
Hopper
you
committed, man.
did you guys remember to go past the credits and watch the end?
Look, here's the saving grace for this movie. Because in my dumb brain, I'm like, okay, this is all nonsense. But then at the very end, post credits, there's that scene where the Japanese video game developers show up and they're asking for the video game rights to all of this. And so like in my mind, this is all canon. This is all actually happened, and the game was the misrepresentation. Those guys just messed it up. It all makes sense. We solved it.
See?
It was like a dream, like Super Mario 2.
Yeah.
Wake up and like, oh, it was a dream.
It's the only way my dumb brain can process all of this.
Well, okay, so we're talking so much smack about this. Are there any good things that you liked about this movie? Let's think about good stuff here, because there's some good stuff. I mean, it got nominated for like best costume design back then, even though it did terrible.
It did?
Yeah.
Look at the
Saturn Award, not like Emmy. I mean, not like anything big, but
It would still get an Emmy.
like not Emmy, but
I'm thinking of good things.
I mean, we talked about the performances.
yeah.
Hopper was good. Daisy was very believable as this girl who was thrown into
I
this
didn't
world
like
that
Daisy.
she never knew. Also, I have a soft spot for Fern Gully, and she was Krista
I get
in
behind
Fern
that.
Gully.
It all makes
that's-
sense
so
now
so
for
that's
you.
so
Okay.
when I hear that voice, I'm like, yeah, everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, because no, I didn't feel like she fit the bill to play Princess Daisy. But okay, good.
I like that Dennis Hopper ordered, like, he is evolved from a dinosaur, but he orders like a pizza with dino parts on it.
Don't give me the pizza joke.
I like
Don't
pizza
give
joke.
me the pizza gag. It went through the
kinda
whole
liked
damn
it.
movie. Just like orders a pizza. 20
But he
minutes later.
ordered dino on it.
But no, but here's-
imagine you like, hey, Domino's, add like a little Patrick on that pizza, but just a light hold. Like, it's weird.
Okay,
Or maybe
that
like a more
part.
primeval. Like, I'd like some monkey on that pizza.
Okay,
Like, it's
that
bizarre.
I understand, but I thought you were talking about the overall joke.
No, I would never do that to you. I
Okay.
respect you far
'Cause
too
it
much
was-
as a co-host, as a human being.
Because it was the joke, then it was 20 minutes later, where's my
No.
pizza? And
Nope.
then at the very end,
I would never do that.
sir,
to
your
you.
pizza's here. Who gives a crap about the damn pizza?
I just
But he
realized.
ordered a dino on.
No, I was just thinking like
Cannibal
what
pizza.
you were saying
It's
how
gross.
how your way to like validate this terrible movie was the
Mm-hmm.
end, and at the end was when they finally got the coined Super Mario Brothers. The whole throughout they were not.
Could that have been any more labor?
could've- yeah.
I just, and do you think anybody was like, I can't wait for the second one when Daisy shows back up and be like, guys, you wouldn't.
That's the thing. We
What's
don't
next?
know. We don't know. There were of the $20 million worth of people that saw this movie.
Yes.
I figured there's probably a good percentage who were just in there like. Remember, this was the first video game movie adaptation,
Yeah.
and this is something kind of like with the episodes 1, 2, and 3, where
Yep.
people are like, I'm seeing this. Something I love is being represented on the big screen,
Yeah.
and
Yep,
while you're
yep.
in there, while you're in that moment, you're like, and there's gonna be
Yeah.
another one, like,
Yeah.
and then when you get home, you're like, wow, that was terrible. There's gonna be another one. So I figure there were those people, but then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. It was just terrible. Not a good weekend.
Okay, well let's talk about some of the reception, because it opened on May 28th, 1993, and like you said, it grossed total gross a little bit over 20 million. I'm looking for the opening weekend it made 8.5 million.
And then right up against Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think that's the reason why they failed.
No.
But
Oh, it
But
helped.
I poke a lot of fun at this. I do want to
No, let's
genuinely.
poke it.
I genuinely want to say the one thing I found redeemable about this movie.
Okay, okay.
So I actually kind of enjoyed. If you look hard enough, there's an actual arc for Mario and Luigi, right? So Mario consistently is preaching to Luigi: use your tools, rely on yourself, use your tools. And what's Luigi's kind of mantra? Believe, have faith. Everything in the universe happens. So it's very much like have faith in yourself versus a creator or in a plan, or the universe will find a way. And at the end, I think it's an amalgam of both. And so I think the one thing I really appreciated was that they were both trying to pitch each other on kind of that ethos, if you will. So the one thing I liked. And then the rest of this, I'm just going to be.
I almost feel like that was a stretch. I was
It
like,
was a
you
bit of a
trying
stretch.
really
I
hard.
was looking for things.
You were looking. That was the thing is humanity in the movie,
Sure.
in this weird dystopian thing that is kind of familiar, but it's all kind of wrong. The one thing that stood the test of the crappiness was these two brothers' love for each other.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people were trying to. That's what I think they were trying to make people like connect with, but there was too much of the. I would love to see a director's cut.
But there was too much of everything. Like they were clubbing together. Just none of it made sense.
This movie was so 90s.
It was just
the fact when they lined in the dinosaur city and in the back you just see this huge club. Everybody's just like, and they never go by it.
That Walk the Dinosaur song brought back so much memories.
Yeah?
I was like, oh my gosh, this song. I mean, come on, you guys remember that song.
I mean, it's you open the door, then you get on the floor, and then everybody walks the dinosaurs. Everybody.
Thank God I've got you to break things down. I don't know what
That's what I'm here for.
The Dino City. That also threw me for a little loop. The first time we see that when they get there, right, where ostensibly we're supposed to believe that they're evolved from dinosaurs, correct? But like if you go to Manhattan, you don't see people in various stages of evolution. I don't see like a primate walking in a suit down Wall Street.
It's different with lizards.
Is it? Is it?
I think once Koopa, I think
is it?
The development.
They're human lizards.
The development of the machine, of the evolution and the de-evolution machine, might have had something to do with different things.
Thank you.
And the civil unrest where Koopa is arresting anybody who has any sort of a dissent against the current monarchy, and they're getting affected and arguably put back on the streets, depending on how many Goombas or Koopas he might need at a certain time. Possibly could have had something with the way that different people act. Who knows?
All right. That's actually, that is the most, literally, I need to watch more movies with you, Mark, is what I'm saying. Is that I needed a Zach Morris style timeout. Be like, okay, what did we just see?
I'm a half full kind of guy. I see the good amongst the crap.
I kind of like, because in my mind, I'm seeing various stages of evolution. I'm trying to like juxtapose that against New York and seeing like, monkeys in suits just walking around, and that doesn't fly.
Well, I mean, I think the like with the vermin sort of a thing, you mean? Like the little dino vermin that are around? Yeah. I mean, that's their equivalent of rats. Like instead of little tiny mammals like rats, they have little like, not Gallimimus, but like the little tiny dinos from like the beginning of Lost World. Okay. Like they have them. Okay. Like that's their vermin. Like you just have to think of it from a different prism. I need
certain
point of view.
I need you to be the director's commentary on more movies that I watch. This is good. This is catharsis.
I wonder if there is a director's cut now that you mentioned it.
To be honest though, there isn't, because they were forbidden from the edit booth.
Is that right?
Really?
When it came to the post-production, the directors were not allowed in the edit booth, and the studio took over and tried to make something out of what they had.
So that's like what says something about the director and how they did with the movie.
Like as they mentioned on set, both were coming from two different points of view and wouldn't consult each other when on any sort of notes.
And these guys were partners,
and they were already over budget, so they didn't want to deal with that sort of crap in the edit bay. So as a result, we'll handle the rest of it. You're done.
So they did the best they could. I mean, ultimately, the editors.
Sure, but I really want to see the making of this movie. That's one of the things in doing a little bit of homework for this before we came on. One of the stories that I'd heard was one of the directors, it was the pair, right? Actually poured a cup of hot coffee on an extra because they didn't like their costume, as if the extra showed up in the costume, as if the extra chose this costume, right? Out of $40 million budget.
I saw it.
It's not, this guy's not just showing up in the costume. I mean, it must have been the most dysfunctional set in the history of movies.
Well, yeah, all the actors have nothing good to say about it. You know?
Well, so you're a big Nintendo fan, obviously.
I love Nintendo.
I know. So are you familiar with Nintendo's stance on the movie? They seem to have distanced themselves a little bit.
Let's get into Shigeru Miyamoto.
So
I'd be interested to hear.
Shigeru Miyamoto said that, I'm going to quote this, in the end, it was a very fun project that they put a lot of effort into, but he also said, the one thing that I still have some regrets about is that the movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Brothers video game were. And in that sense, it became a movie that was about a video game rather than being an entertainment movie in itself. And the thing with that's pretty much what you mentioned earlier on. And the thing with that is, he's right. I mean, that's pretty much what we were saying. Like, that it just got too cluttered with things that they were trying to put in and give us a
good reference for this would be Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 3 was, this is what the fans want, this is what the director wants, and this is what the studio wants. And as a result, it became a big overblown mess that has some redeeming qualities to it due to the actors and the performances. But when you look back at it, it's like, wow, they really needed to cut off the sieve a bit on that one. So that's what this one has too, where it doesn't work. You can't take a story so simple in a game where most characters don't talk and expect to make something similar. So they tried.
And I will give them credit because, like you said, they were the first video game adapted movie fresh out of the gates, doing their best. And I'm going to quote again: Nintendo Power's 20th anniversary mentions it.
All right.
And they said, "Rest in peace, Nintendo Power magazine."
I know, right?
I missed that magazine.
Pour one out for the homies.
It said that despite the film's poor quality, the fact that it was made shows how much the game series has impacted popular culture.
True.
And that's true.
For sure.
And also there was something that I read, but this is obviously not confirmed, but when they had that Sony leak with all the emails going out, there was a rumor that BuzzFeed put an article up that they were in the works of possibly having another movie.
I'd heard that.
Yeah.
I'd heard that.
Too.
I mean, but this was such a failure. Like Nintendo to this date still hasn't tried another live action movie. Am I correct in this?
Well, this movie that it was quote unquote possibly in the works is animated.
Right.
By the Sony Animation. And if there was a studio to do it, it would be them. Look at the Ratchet and Clank movie that's coming out next year. That is the game on the screen. Which is excellent. With Mario though, Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario and Luigi and Wario and Waluigi and several other Nintendo characters, if you giving him more than a couple of lines, a basic like Mario lines like "Woohoo, I'm a Mario, I'm gonna win" or whatever, giving him a little bit more than that, could you imagine 4 characters fully dialogued in voice? I mean, it's a great payday for Charles, but could you imagine a fully scripted in that voice Mario movie?
I mean, as a voice actor, it'd probably be a lot of work for him. I would guess it would have to have at least another one to fill it in.
I don't know that I'm on board. I hate look on the internet. I get a lot of grief for liking things a lot, and I come on this show and all I do is trash stuff. I do. I'm Captain Positive. I like liking things, and then I show up on this show. I'm like, well, everything's awful. I guess
is awful.
I wouldn't. I heard an older woman in an elevator in earnest tell me that everything was awesome, and it was the best moment of my whole day yesterday. It was awesome. But I think, look, Mario's about the mechanics. I think, like, as a franchise, and I'm interested to see your guys' history with the game, because I feel like that is a game that nobody plays for the narrative, right? Like, I mean, the conceit that you're saving a damsel over and over and over and over. Stop getting kidnapped, princess.
But I mean, that's another story. Is it Stockholm syndrome that she likes getting kidnapped?
Totally, she just wants the attention.
There's all of the fan theories.
She's my favorite.
The fan theories of Peach and Mario and like the relationship between them and Bowser, where it's like, is this Mario and Peach helping Bowser as a single father, giving his kids something to do? Mm-hmm. Is this something where Mario is too busy with his plumbing job
that totally just neglects her, and she just strays a little bit.
And hangs out with Koopa because it's like, oh, you know what? This guy takes care of me. I'm in a castle. He feeds me really well.
He's a big earner.
Yeah,
he's a baller. He does have a castle. That's a great point.
There's so many different fan theories.
Well, of course, because like the games have also evolved exponentially from its inception to 2015.
But my point is, if we're going to pick, like, again, the premise of the show is do games and make good movies. And if we're going to pick a movie, if the three of us were going to pick a movie, it wouldn't be one that's like a game to make a movie out of. It wouldn't be one that I would assert would be like fundamentally about the mechanics. I know that ostensibly The Last of Us is in the works, and that's a very narratively driven game. Like, that's something that would be exciting to me. But like, I think this game from the onset is a stretch and a cash in, right? Because people was insanely popular.
I think they create a storyline. There's like a Japanese one that we just mentioned that I watched when I was a kid. It was a cartoon version, and me and my brother watched the VHS for days and days. It was a great one. I think they just need to like.
In terms of the games in general, any of the 3D star collecting games, those tend to have a little bit more of something that you can find a narrative arc through, especially like with 64, but especially the Mario Galaxy games. Yeah. Those games aren't about Mario though. Those games are about Rosalina. And Rosalina she's not fully voiced, but she's fully texted, and you see her story through a storybook. And but it's not something that I think anyway would be appealing on a movie screen. With the Mario story, it's that identifying the hero, identifying as the hero. Mario's this every guy that, or Luigi, or
And
whoever you
this
play
movie
as,
is not a Mario
but that's
movie.
the thing.
This is a Luigi movie.
But that's
Mario's
the thing,
sidekick.
is
It
because
kinda felt like that, right?
when you're
Yeah.
playing the game, you're supposed to feel empowered by Mario and being this guy that can do anything. So when it comes to flipping that, oh well, I was this person, to such a distinct character type like we get from Bob Hoskins,
Yep.
it's hard for viewers to make that transition. As
can see
opposed
that.
to something where The Last of Us, where that's a mostly just written game, and most
well
decisions
fleshed out,
and most decisions that you make are made to advance the story, and there's not
from
too many
Joel's
options.
perspective,
And
as
from Joel's
opposed
perspective.
to
I just think
get
that
behind
it would be a lot more forgiving
yeah.
if it was animated. I think it would. If, it's easier
Mario
to-
voiced by Tom Hanks. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying this movie being animated. I'm
No, I
saying
know. Me either.
a completely other movie, Mario movie being animated. But yeah, I mean that's about it. Did you want to talk about you mentioned Daisy, and you wanted to talk about her? And
Well, just we talked about some of the things in reference to the game. The biggest thing about this was there were a couple of other references that they could have made that they missed out on.
Okay.
Mario has a girlfriend in this.
yes.
And it's not somebody named Peach.
Nope.
It's not even somebody named Pauline,
Nope.
which was the easiest thing that they could have done. Pauline being his friend
Right.
from Donkey Kong that he saves, even though the girl in Donkey Kong wears a pink dress.
looks like Peach.
It looks like Daisy in the movie because she has blonde
they-
hair
yeah.
and has pink dress.
Right.
So that's like, oh well.
I didn't even notice that.
wait a minute.
She was more. It was more purple. I
It
would
was-
say.
Purple, but is fading. And
Sorry, the girl
It
in
was-
the
that's
panel was
fine.
like that was
That's
more
fine.
purple.
But so there was that disconnect where, okay, so it's not Mario saving the princess, which that's the first one. With Daisy, that's still a game where Mario is saving Daisy. It was the ones for the Game Boy, Super Mario Land. You're in Sarasa Land as opposed to the Mushroom Kingdom, and you save Daisy. Now this is after the original Super Mario games, where Mario has already saved Peach and is already still friends with Pauline, arguably. So that's a comment on the game of how many women's does Mario like to keep in his pocket at a certain time.
I mean, he's kind of
But-
gross,
but
and
it-
she's 30 years younger than him in this movie.
But in recent times, Daisy is kind of known as the one that Luigi likes, and they kind of like each other. There's a mutual attraction, but more so on Luigi's end.
And it seems like it was
I know
like,
there's
hey,
like real lore here going on.
Hey Daisy, Luigi's looking for a date. Could you help him out? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. I guess. Whatever.
How awkward was that scene in the movie when he
Yeah.
asked her out?
Yeah.
They, like, from this far away, they clearly could hear each other. Like, ask her to dinner.
Mario pretty much asked her out.
ask her to dinner. It's like, do you? Oh no, he opens with, "Do you eat?"
Hey, do you eat?
I do.
To be honest,
Didn't
that
work.
would probably work today.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Go to hipster bar.
I mean,
Do you eat? Yeah, do you want to eat? Yeah, let's go eat.
Oh my
eat too.
god! Oh my gosh!
the fact that they even gave her a ride when they set up that whole premise about women disappearing in Brooklyn over the past
was
few
very
days. Like, hey, get
weird.
into the back of my van.
That was another thing that I liked.
Yeah.
At the
You
very
did, you
beginning,
did.
it was just this throwaway thing in the newspaper of, yeah, I'm just reading up on all of the missing and disappearing women, and then when you get to the thing, you're like, oh, these are the women that have disappeared. They've been captured.
Right.
Wow. Okay. They actually put a button on that storyline,
Yeah.
and it wasn't actually just a thing to say.
Well, is there anything else that you guys want to mention?
I think so. I watched this movie 1.5 times in preparation for this, and I
Okay.
think what helped it make sense not only was that post-credit thing, and in my mind, I would invite people to watch this show. And this is a post Donkey Kong Mario. Like, this is some Mario that's seen some shit. This is like, he's grizzled. He's already saved a woman from a large
A large ape.
angry gorilla, and so that's where he's in that space. That's why he comes across as this gonna hit people with things. He's seen some shit.
Yep.
So
Well, it seems like that, but then there are moments in the movie where he's too scared to do things that Luigi's like, you just gotta believe, you just gotta believe.
Totally.
So it's like, what the heck?
he's teaching him there's a higher power. Everything happens for a reason. Way to go, Luigi. Way
Yeah.
to go, John Leguizamo.
Any other thoughts? I was gonna call you Soapbox Mark.
I mean, that is my name. I am the internet
Soapbox.
Soapbox Mark.
Yeah,
You
you
can find me
are.
on Twitter at Soapbox Mark. But when it comes to this movie, I do what I can with these bad movies, despite how much of a fan I am,
Yeah.
to make sense and try to find something to enjoy in this. And with this film, it's none of the good stuff. It's all stuff that people ridicule, and there's already a riff tracks of the Excuse me. There is a riff tracks of this, which is like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 of it, which they have previews on YouTube, so I'd very much watch it. This has become one of those movies, especially with now how heralded Mario is, that everybody loves to make fun of, and I would like nothing more as a fan of this franchise for something to come out to just be like, hey, forget about the Mario movie, or if they take it. Now with the Super Mario Maker coming out, if somebody makes levels based on the Mario movie, and you bring it and you make it like alternate reality, but like a sort of
play that game.
It's actually super simple.
I just want an animated.
I'm excited about that game.
I just would want a simple animated Mario. Like you guys should just go watch the Japanese version way back in.
The characterizations. That was my problem.
You guys should watch the Japanese one and you'll be like, oh, I see what she's saying.
But that's the thing. Then we get into like the CDI Mario where it's like, hey, you want to get some pasta, Luigi? I sure love spaghetti. And it's like, no, let's make these like people as opposed to caricatures.
Right.
Because I watched the Super Mario Super Show with Captain Lou Albano back in the day, but it was still, looking back at it, I don't even want to do my Toad impression.
Did you like the Super Show? Because I love the Super Show.
Maybe closing it out, will you do the Toad impression?
I won't, because I'll do it off camera just because it's so shrill and terrible. But it's like Smoker in New York, but with like 3 jugs of helium in their throat. Like that's the thing, is we've seen it already, and unless you have to tie me down with an amazing cast vocally in order to hit me. Really, because if you just go with a bunch of nobodies, but it makes sense, fine. If you hit me with a bunch of stars and it doesn't make sense, maybe not so fun. But I think this is a franchise that people would be willing to give one more shot to. Maybe shorts, maybe animated shorts, as opposed to a full-fledged movie.
Yeah.
Why not?
I can see some online distribution there. Like I can see something like a Netflix binge watching thing. It doesn't have to be in the vein of like Daredevil. I'm not looking for gritty reboot Dark Knight of Mario, but just something.
That's what this was supposed to be.
It kind of was.
It was.
Right?
It was just like
this is what they were trying to be.
But you can clearly tell the directors weren't sure how they wanted to go with this, and the movie faltered for it. So
not one goddamn coin. In the whole movie.
They talked about it.
It's a game about coins. Just once.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
A lot of things didn't happen. I would have loved to see a Goomba getting smushed, but that's just not how it went. So
let me do it really quickly. Let me take your temperature, guys. So we're a couple episodes into this series.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about the question, do games as a whole make good movies?
So far, no good.
I mean, you know me. Mortal Kombat was a winner for me. There's gonna be the couple. There's gonna be the ones where we won't know the answer.
Fair enough.
But there are also the ones that might be so kitschy that they might catch us off guard.
And then we've been cooking. We've been discussing some things. We've been scheming.
We thought we knew the answer. Like I thought I liked this movie, and I went back and saw it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I did not like this movie. Yep. Street Fighter 2. I thought I liked it, and I realized I didn't. I'm so a little disappointed with my youth versus my adulthood. I guess things change. You get more pickier. Yeah. You have different expectations for it. But that being said, that concludes this week's show, talking about Super Mario Brothers.
We did it.
We did it. You guys go ahead.
A monkey.
You guys send us your comments and also let us know what movie you think we should watch, maybe for the first time, that you guys think is good, at hashtag BGFilms. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe right here on the Popcorn Talk Network. And you can also follow Popcorn Talk at Popcorn Talk. And you can follow my friends right here. Where at, everybody?
You can find me at P to the D's on Twitter. I also host a show ostensibly about video games and all kinds of pop culture nonsense called Pixel by Pixel on iTunes.
You should listen to it because it's a good podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Don't think we didn't see the Super Scope as the de-evolution gun. We just didn't mention it, but that was, it was, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the Internet Soapbox Mark. You can find me on Twitter at Soapbox Mark. I'm here for Popcorn Talk. I'm on Jedi Alliance every now and again. We just did a show today with Joseph Scrimshaw. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun bonus questions. Everybody should listen to it. And I'm also on AfterBuzz TV, our sister network, doing a whole bunch of wrestling shows. You should follow me on Twitter and follow along, because it's fun.
And I'm going to keep it short and sweet. You can follow me everywhere at Kaori on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. But don't stalk me. You won't. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time for some more movie talk.
Producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.